Well, Frozen 2 really let go of the competition. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking box office, all things including which movies finished in the top 5, how did the newer films do, and Joker sequel? What? See, that news came out earlier on in the week when I was a bit busy dealing with some family matters, and I was so upset with the fact that I did not get to report on the fact that Joker was getting a sequel, and there wasn't getting a sequel. And now it could be. We're going to talk about all of those things which really spawn from the box office. And of course, I need your comments down below. How did you feel about this weekend's box office? Did you expect Frozen 2 to win? Come on. Everybody expected it to win. Let's talk about the new releases this weekend. So we have 3 major marquee releases. And wait a second. All 3 finished in the top 5? We haven't had that yet because I've only been doing this series for a couple of weeks. So we'll get into those when we get to them. I do want to follow up, though, on some films that we haven't been covering in depth. Coming in at number 16 this weekend. Last weekend it was 11th. This weekend it's 16th. And that is Terminator Dark Fate, which brought in $1.2 million. Oh, that's really bad. That is really bad. Let this sink in. Angel Has Fallen, and I saw this on Twitter. I can't remember who tweeted it. Will make more at the domestic box office than Terminator Dark Fate. Nothing against Angel Has Fallen, but just let that... Okay, let's move on. Next movie we're talking about is Dr. Sleep, which last week came in outside of the top 5 in its second weekend at number 6, dropped all the way to 13th this weekend, and came in at $1.86 million. That is a 69% drop, folks, in its third weekend. $1.8 million, like I said, $28 million. Total. We're talking box office bombs with Terminator. I think at this point we can apply the same term to Dr. Sleep, even though I like that movie quite a bit. It is one of my upper echelon films of the year, but yeah, that is a horrible box office take. Let's move all the way up to Charlie's Angels, which last weekend came in at number 3, dropped to number 8 this week, and brought in $3.175 million in its second weekend. Talking dumpster fires at the box office, well, we've already talked about 3 of them, not talking about quality once again, even though I didn't personally love the Charlie's Angels movie, but hey, the review is on my channel. Oh, look! It's Joker. We're still talking about this film, and here's the big reason why. Now, it came in at number 10 this weekend, so it's not like it's cracking the top 5, but hey, it did make more than Terminator Dark Fate and Dr. Sleep this weekend at $2.8 million. But here's the kicker. The film is in its 8th week of release. It has made $326 million domestically, $708 million internationally, for a total of $1.035 billion worldwide. Let's see where it is on our all-time worldwide ranking. 36th place. I mentioned last weekend that it would overtake some of these movies. It is slowly continuing to do that. There is a possibility it overtakes even more films as it continues to rake in the money. Now, obviously, it's slowed down quite a bit, but a superhero/villain movie with that low of a budget that makes $1 billion at the box office should be enough to make a sequel right. One would think, one would believe. Now, I understand completely if you are on the side of the fence that does not want a sequel, because how do you capture lightning in a bottle twice? I feel like that's what this movie was. It was just a complete and total wave of things that all came together perfectly, from the performance to the direction to the controversy that actually probably added to the box office totals. Then I think once most people, not everyone loves the film, but once most people watch the movie, they were like, okay, I understand why people enjoy this movie so much. It really is lightning in a bottle, man, and to do that twice is a very tough and difficult task. But I'm not going to lie to you and say I don't want to see this character on screen again, because of course I do. His performance was so good, and I want to see this Joker again. Are we going to get that? I don't know. Because we were getting various reports all throughout the week from The Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, 2 of the most trustworthy sites on the internet. A lot of the times when, these geek sites or these comic booky sites, when they're dropping news, they're not the most reputable of sources, but then when something like The Hollywood Reporter or Deadline drops a scoop like that, you trust them, right? Well, then not an hour, 2 hours later, a different site is coming out saying, actually, that's crap. That never happened. Todd Phillips didn't say that. And then they come out and say, actually, Todd Phillips did say this, and now we're focusing on multiple villain origin stories, not just a Joker sequel, and then it's like, oh, no villain origin stories, we're just doing a Joker sequel. My brain's scrambling and everything's flying around, and I just want to hear it from the man himself. I want to hear it from Todd Phillips. Now, he did get asked in an interview, and he said, yeah, of course we've had discussions, but nothing is concrete yet. So at this point, I don't know if we are getting a Joker sequel. Why? Are they even contemplating doing this again? Well, it really comes down to the box office. When you have a $55 million budgeted movie making this much profit, doing this well at the box office, appealing to audiences, people are still talking about the film, of course the studio is going to approach Todd Phillips and say, hey, bro, listen, you did a good job the first time and you made us a lot of money. That's really what it all comes down to. Can you do that again? But I love what Todd Phillips has to say anytime he gets asked anything like this. It's like it all comes down to the script. If we find another story that we want to tell, then of course we're going to do it. And here's why I'm okay if we end up getting a sequel, because Joaquin Phoenix is not signing on to something if it does not have a good script. The man knows what a good script is by now. Now, when he was first starting out in Hollywood, not necessarily. Not to say he was a horrible actor, but he's really grown into his own, and he only picks a project. Very rarely does he pick a project continuing on from something else because he's that kind of actor, but that's the best kind of actor. He picks a project based upon its merit, based upon how well it can come across on screen and how incredible the material is. If Joker 2 is as good as we hope it's going to be, if we end up getting one, then he will sign on and I will feel much more confident in this movie. Regardless, I need your thoughts below. Do you think we're getting a Joker sequel? I know I went off on a tangent. We still haven't gotten into the top 5, but we're going to get into it. Joker made $1 billion. It's pretty cool, right? Okay, let's get into the top 5 at the domestic box office this weekend. It was at number 2 last week. Coming in at number 5 this week is Midway, bringing in another $4.7 million. That is $81 million worldwide, still falling short of its almost $100 million budget. So it's not like the movie is technically profitable yet, but I said this last week, I'll say it again, it is making more money than I expected it to make. Not that that's a good thing, but hey, it's not a Terminator Dark Fate. At number 4, 21 Bridges, the brand new released movie, $9.3 million on its opening weekend. And you know, 9.2 million, not crossing 10 million in its opening weekend for a Russo brothers directed movie starring Chadwick Boseman. Not great for what it was going for. I don't think it's going to completely bomb and fall apart at the box office because the budget's not crazy, but not off to a great start. At number 3, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, $13.5 million. The film was only made on a $25 million budget, and I do think Thanksgiving is going to help this movie, even though the word of mouth is not the best we've ever seen. I think some people are liking it enough to encourage others to go over this family holiday because it really is a family-centric film, so not bad for a start that could have easily been much worse. At number 2, Ford v. Ferrari in its second weekend, coming in at $16 million. That is a 49% drop, $57 million total. And you know what? If we're being honest, not too shabby. I expected it to drop around the 40 to 50% range, so the fact that it did just that is not surprising. And even though I don't believe the movie is going to be extremely profitable, hey, it passed its budget, which is good, especially a movie like this, which I think a lot of people need to check out because it's very well made and extremely entertaining. Okay, number 1, Frozen 2, the movie that everyone wants to talk about. This film dropped with $127 million on its opening weekend. I believe that's the 5th highest opening weekend in the month of November of all time, one of the highest animated opening weekends of all time, and outside of the summer movie season, it is the number 1 opening for an animated movie of all time. And I'm surprised to see that it actually ended up passing Toy Story 4, which made $120. This made $127, of course. Animated movies that have made more on their opening weekend include Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, And if you want to count the new Lion King movie, you can count that, but we're not going to get into that discussion. Regardless, Frozen 2 opened internationally to $223 million for a $350 million global debut. That is absolutely fantastic. For a movie that was, expecting to make this much money, probably wanted to make even more than that, but capitalizing on the hype from the original. Even though it's 6 years later, it comes out, audiences, kids especially, want to go out and see this thing. They did. The movie is going to keep chucking along. This is a film that is going to destroy at the box office. When we look at its totals, $1 billion. I mean, the first one did it. The first one had a lengthier stay at the box office than I think this one's going to have, but this one's absolutely front-loaded, so we will just have to see how this continues to fare. Regardless, are you guys surprised over the top 5 at the box office this weekend? Are you happy that Frozen 2 came in at number 1? Didn't have a lot of competition, to be honest, but it's still impressive to see how some of these other movies are doing. Do you want to see a Joker sequel? Answer all of those questions down below. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like I said, we do this box office discussion every single weekend. Normally the video's coming out earlier in the day, but I went to a little NFL game today, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was really fun, and it was absolutely worth it, and my team won. So speculate, what is my team, in the comments down below. You guys are truly the best. Thank you for watching once again. I'm really tired. I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm gonna fall asleep. Oh, God.